I hate you, COVID.
But thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, I gotta first say, congratulations on all the success with
Oh,
Bullet Train.
thank
I
you
mean,
very
I
much.
was just looking at some of the box office numbers. I mean, number one every day since it's opened. I know it's been doing great. So congratulations on that. How's it feel to be part of a project like that?
It feels amazing. I mean, I still cannot believe it sometimes, but I'm very grateful and happy that it's doing so well.
That's excellent. And I wanted to, obviously we'll talk a little bit about the movie, but I kind of wanted to backtrack and I know you're a native of Colombia, so I
Yeah,
just wanted to kind of just ask real quick, maybe people
sure.
in the United States are not so familiar with the country. What's it like? What's something that people maybe don't know or don't understand about growing up there, about living there, about the country in general?
Oh my God, it's such a beautiful land. One of the things that people keep telling me, because I'm so used to the heat, it's there is some areas over there that is always summer. So it's summer all year long. So I wasn't used to the winters and the season. So that's a very special and great thing because you always have the same wardrobe. You don't have to do the rotation. I feel like Colombia is such a like rich land. We have absolutely everything. We have forests, we have trees, we have deserts, we have beaches, we have everything that you want to find in the entire world. It's gonna be like there in Colombia. So that's awesome because you can spend a year just traveling around Colombia and finding all these new places. I don't know. I just feel it's such a beautiful land, and I always tell everyone that you have to you have to come to to Colombia and yeah, and enjoy the time there because it's just amazing.
Yeah, it certainly looks like a beautiful country. I'd love to visit sometime for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
But
and
but
people are
talking
great.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the movie Bullet Train, and especially I know it's your first major studio picture, so I just wanted to hear from you. What was it like when you landed the role? How did you find out? How did you react?
I mean, I didn't believe it for the longest time because so I auditioned for it, and it was 4 weeks after I auditioned for it that they called me and they were like, "Oh, we have an offer for you," and I was like, "For what role?" And they're like, "Oh, in that time it was called Mrs. Tiger. Right now it's called Mrs. Wolf." And they're like, "Well, you have an offer for Mrs. Tiger," and I was like, "What? Are you sure? Like, are you sure they didn't make a mistake?" For like, I asked that question so many times because I was a non-union actor. I didn't have any credits. I was a very green actor, so I was like, "This is a big production," and I wasn't sure if they wanted someone with because all the actors there had so much experience that they were on set for for so many years that I didn't want to be like I didn't want to disappoint them. You know what I mean? So I asked the question, "Are you guys sure?" Which is like, I guess my insecurities talking, but yeah, my reaction was like I couldn't believe it for the longest time until I was on set. I was like, okay, this is actually happening.
For sure, yeah. That's a pretty incredible, and I'm also curious, like for you to kind of maybe describe what it was like for you to audition. What do you think it was about like your take on the role or your audition that made you stand out from other actors who were trying to get that part?
So this was an audition that it was with improv. So you have to create a whole scenario. Like it was your. I love because this audition has so much freedom. You created your whole scenario. Like you, it wasn't set up in like a context or anything. They just gave you one line of like you're meeting the love of your life. So I had the opportunity to create it whatever I wanted to do. So I feel like that permission to be so creative and creating the space and the dialogues that I wanted to create. That was the thing that stand out for them. Um, and yeah, I think that was the reason why. Because when I can do whatever I want, I'm wonderful.
I'm curious too. I'm just curious how much you were able to be on set with the other actors. Like, I'm reading a little bit about the movie. I know a lot of it was done, on a sound stage or on a back lot at the studios. So I'm just curious, how much were you able to interact with the other actors aside from Bad Bunny?
Unfortunately, I had one scene with Brad Pitt, and we couldn't do it because he was exposed to someone with COVID.
Mm.
So they have to isolate it right away. That was back in the days when it was like COVID without vaccine and everything. So they were very precautious with everything. So my only scene with Brad Pitt was taken away from me. Oh, I hate you, COVID. So I only had the opportunity to share with Bad Bunny most like the whole time. That was my scene partner the whole time.
It's still, I mean, if I thought I saw something too that that was the first time you had done an on-screen kiss was with Bad Bunny, in that even before Pam and Tommy. That
Yes.
was before that. Well, so I mean, that seems, from what I was reading, it sounded like that maybe was a little uncomfortable. You weren't ready for that, perhaps.
No. Yes, it is. It is. It is a very uncomfortable and awkward situation. Like, it was my first kiss on camera, and I knew on the script that we were gonna be kissing and all that, but always till you're there on set and they're like, okay, it's time for the kiss, and you have 100 people around you, and it's the moment to do it, and you don't know this person that well. It's still your personal space, and even though it's Bad Bunny, which I love, like outside of everything, I'm a big fan of the artist, but it's still a guy that you don't know. So you have to pretend to be to be in love with this person and enjoying this kiss, like. So yeah, it was hard, but I feel like he made it very easy for me because he was very sweet, he was very gentle.
Mm.
Yeah, he was. I feel like he made me feel safe. So then I let go of the fears. So that was a good thing. You always need a good team partner to make these situations less awkward.
Most certainly. I can't imagine, as not being an actor, how awkward it is to play any scene like that with, the director and assistants and all the people watching, let alone being it
Oh
the
my
first
god.
time. It's got to be a crazy experience. I
Yeah.
can imagine. I know you had the film Ambrosio before Bullet Train that came out. So I'm curious if you can kind of explain or describe, what's different about shooting a big studio picture like Bullet Train compared to something that's maybe a little bit smaller like Ambrosio, or some of the shorts that you worked on before you started Bullet Train.
Actually, I work in Ambrosia after Bullet Train,
Oh,
but
was it
yeah, there is
after?
a
Okay.
bit. Yeah, it is a big difference. I guess. I mean, the big budget gives the freedom to the production to maybe pamper the actors more, maybe to give them more space. I guess it's more like, like the luxury that money gives you, so you will have your own trailer, even though maybe your character is just working in one scene that day. So maybe those are the big difference, but always being on set is just amazing. It doesn't matter if it's like a small or big. Maybe when it's like the perks of a smaller production is that you get to know the crew and the director more. You can get to talk to them. So it gets more personal. In a big production, maybe you have your space and they bring you water every 5 seconds, but you don't get to share that much with the crew or the director or the other actors. So everything has like their pros and cons, and I wouldn't take away anything of either. Like I enjoy both of the production of both of the experiences. And at the end of the day, what an actor that wants to really be in the acting thing because of the craft enjoys the work. Like I enjoy the work. I enjoy being on set. I enjoy like having my call sheet and knowing that I have to be there and that I'm gonna be making a living of something that I love. So yeah, they're different, but they're both great.
I'm curious too. Your backstory is interesting to me. That you studied psychology for a long time and then decided to just make this sudden transition to being an actor. So when you decided to make that transition, could you ever have imagined that your first roles, some of your first roles, would be in an Emmy nominated series, and then starring in a movie with an Oscar winner, and
Never in my
and
entire
Bad
life.
Bunny too?
Never. That never crossed my mind. Like honestly, what like I love your question. First of all, I want to say that your interview is great, and no, it never crossed my mind. Like I thought was gonna, because when you go to school, like your acting business teacher tells you, okay, this is what is gonna happen. So you're gonna first going to be doing a lot of non-union projects, a lot of shorts, commercials. Then you're going to be doing a SAC commercial, and there's going to be a lot of commercial. Then you're going to be starting doing a co-star, maybe, and it's going to be 20 to 15 years till you land in a big production. So you're like, oh God, this is going to be a long path, but let's do it. You know what I mean? And I'm still in the process of auditioning a lot. I'm not getting a lot of calls. Like, it's still part of my day to day, the hustling, you know. But to have in my resume those two credits, yes, sometimes it blows my mind. Sometimes when I tell people and tell people in my country, they're like, wow, man, maybe you're doing the things that are right. And I don't know if I'm doing the things that are right, but I am trying to put my best and to work as hard as I can and to be very disciplined to be able to escalate and work in the things that I really want to work, you know, to find that character that I really want to develop, that I want to share with the world.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm also curious about that your background in psychology too. Do you think that helps you like tap into a character, or more easily access certain emotions that you might need for a scene or for an audition, or if if you are auditioning and someone says, "Oh, let's try it this way," you can just quickly like really get into it because you have that background?
Yeah. Oh my God. I feel like psychology is one of the best tools that I have for my acting craft. Like, because my what I study, I learn how human develop emotions and why they act the way they act. No, I'm not saying that I know absolutely everything, no, but I learned like a lot about it. And when you have a character and you see this reaction and you're like, I mean, this has to be attached to the background. So I found myself doing that a lot. And maybe when I was in school, I realized that maybe other actors, they weren't doing it. And I would talk to the teacher who was like, oh, I have a background in psychology. And they're like, oh, we can tell because you really go very deep and dark into the characters. And so, yeah, I think I love this tool that I have, and I will never change my path to be here, which is for me also going to school to study psychology.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting that, acting coaches and people who are, in that world of acting so continuously can tell that you have that psychology background. That's really interesting to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Making that switch, it's a pretty drastic switch from studying for so long in one thing and then going into acting. So I'm almost certain there has to be someone who inspired you to make that switch. Who is an actor, or even some actors who inspired you and that you hope to model your career after?
Oh my God. I mean, there are so many actors that I have followed my entire life. There is, I know this is an actress that everybody loves, and I'm one of those 100, and it's Viola Davis. I feel like she makes me feel so much when I see her acting, and that's exactly what I wanna do when I act. Like, the thing that she makes me feel. That's what I want to make feel people. You know. There's this movie that I always forget the name. It's because it's so hard for me to remember this word. It's August in something county. The
Mm.
cast is amazing. You know which movie I'm talking about?
Yeah, August
Oh,
in Osage County, I think it is.
yeah, August in Osage County. That is with Meryl Streep. It's with Julia Roberts. Well, the cast is incredible, and it's such a dark movie about family. And I remember watching that movie, and I was like, man, I think I was doing something about one of my uh, college thing about family and relationship and all this thing, and I was watching that movie, and I was like, damn, like, I'm trying to explain like my class right now what is like the family structure, and this movie is doing it perfectly. So maybe through acting you can do that. So I was always having in the back of my mind, like, art is one of the best ways to communicate, to give a message to people.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's really incredible how sometimes one line or one look in a movie can really
Oh my God.
show you how close to reality it is, and really touch a nerve with you for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that one of your passions outside of acting is working and helping vulnerable communities. So I'm just curious if you can tell me more about what that looks like. How do you try to help people who maybe need a little bit of assistance in the real world?
Oh, that one was one of the things that because when I was in Colombia and I worked as a psychology, that's the work that I wanted to do. So I wanted to go to the vulnerable communities in my hometown and try to help them. Like, for example, help the kids that they belong to a gang and like do the transition for them to reinsert them in the community. So I was trying to do that. It was very heartbreaking because it's really, really hard. Um, so I found out that making an impact in society, it was harder than I thought. So I did that for a long time, but I finally went out of it because of so it brought like confrontation to me. And as a whole, when I'm like right here in the United States, I've been trying to get in touch with a because I like education. I've been trying to get in touch with a foundation that they go to the border and they help the kids that are like in the border and they give them like this like school because they don't have school over there. But it's been so hard to volunteer for this foundation. I want to be part of an organization that helps people that has the immigration process and that like coming to this country. I really want to be part of that because I'm an immigrant, and even though I immigrated with privilege and it was so much easier for me, I know what is feeling that you don't belong. And yeah, that's the things that I would like to do. I work in social things back in Colombia there. I haven't been like doing as much here because I'm surviving here is like a whole thing. So I'm trying to keep myself floating. But yeah, as soon as I feel that I have like more the freedom of or that I'm given the opportunity to do it, I will do it. I have signed myself for so many things, but like they don't call you. They're hard to get. Oh, I've worked with one foundation that is called Junior Foundation. They work with kids that have cancer, so they help families, and is they help like families that are like mostly immigrant families that they're here, and they help them because the hospital issues are super hard. So I volunteered with them like back in 2017 and 2016, and I'm trying to do it again now that we're with the movie. So they're like, okay, you need to come back now.
What was the name of the foundation again?
Called Junior Foundation.
Junior Foundation. Okay, excellent. Well, yeah, I mean, and those are, that's another group of people who, can certainly use the assistance when kids are going through that. It's definitely not easy. So
Yeah,
any bit of
yeah.
assistance is always welcome for sure. So I just quickly wanted to ask, just kind of to wrap up, what's next for you? What is there a role that you really want to play, or a kind of movie you'd really like to make somewhere down the line in your career?
Oh yeah. I mean, I say this quite a lot, and I don't know if I'm getting annoying with this, but I always want to play a superhero. I would love to be a superhero. Maybe that's my unconscious saying like I want to save the world in a way. But yeah, I would love to be a superhero. I would love to be to represent the Latin community in the superhero world because I feel like we don't have that much on the screen right now, and that I would love for girls in my country in Latin America to see themselves and be like, oh, there is a Latina Wonder Woman, which is actually is in the comics. So we need to make that happen.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. I'll put in a call to DC and see what we can do about that. But in seriousness, though, it is great that there's a lot more diversity in the superhero movies now. There's so many more women, there's so many more minorities. It's really great to see. So hopefully that call comes for you real soon. So
yes, why not, right?
yeah, definitely. Well, I know I don't want to keep you too long. I know you probably have a lot of people to talk to, but I really appreciate your time, Andrea, and thank you so much for joining me. Congratulations on the success of Bullet Train, and best of luck with everything to come in the future.
Thank you very much for having me. And as I say, I love your questions. They were very nice. It's hard to get people that do good interviews, and I really appreciate for you to giving me the space to talk about really important things.
Of course. Thank you so much for taking your time today.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.